Hey friend, in today's video, I'm going to be covering a question I get asked quite a bit, and it's, should I get this operator or should I get another operator? I kind of touched on this in another video, but not to the degree I want to. Now I'm going to do this in a format where I have one person at the top of the pyramid, two people beneath, three people beneath him, and so forth until I run out, and I'll be starting with the defense. The person I've chosen for the top slot is Smoke, and that's not because he's the best operator in the game. It's just that I've seen him chosen quite frequently in my own play and when I'm watching competitive play, just because of how versatile he is. But that doesn't mean you should always bring him. Like, for instance, sometimes you don't want to bring him in a hostage game mode if you have him there. There's situations where you wouldn't necessarily bring him, but most of the time, more than 9 times out of 10, you're going to want to bring Smoke. I think he is pretty much, so far in this meta right now, probably the best defender, if only beating Mira, just because his weapons are probably better, in my opinion, and he's a 2-speed, so he's more versatile, and his gadget will actually kill as opposed to just locking down a corridor. In the next tier down, we have two operators, Mira and Jaeger. Jaeger is, in competitive play, like the most chosen defender. He has like 100% pick rate or something insane. But I think Mira is probably just a little bit better just because you can hold some points that you used to not be able to because of the Mira. It's made a couple points easier too, like the basement on Oregon. That's super easy now that Mira has been introduced. And because she's a 3 armor, that's another thing that's we've kind of needed. And Rook and Doc have sort of been slid back just because she's a heavy HP presence. Great weapons. You do need to go for headshots with the Vector, but that honestly becomes easy because of how well the gun performs. I chose Jaeger as well because his gadget is phenomenal along with his weapon. And the cool thing about him is you put all his resources down at the start of the match, and then he just becomes somebody who can hold an angle really well because his gun doesn't have a ton of recoil, has good DPS, and he also, because he doesn't have any resources, he can just run around the map freely, and if he dies off, it isn't quite as big a deal as if somebody like Smoke died. The next tier down, this is more, I decided to put these people in here because it's a little bit more beginner friendly, but once again, as you keep playing the game, you shouldn't bring like the top 5 people I mentioned, because that doesn't mean they're the best. Each map runs differently. But the 3 I've chosen are Bandit, Valkyrie, and Pulse. Between the 3 of them, Valkyrie is amazing because of the information she gathers. Too many times I see him just wasted, being thrown inside, because a lot of maps that rely heavily on repelling, you want to get 1 or 2 of them, maybe just 1, outside, so you can have someone like Jaeger or your Bandit run outside and take them out. That's one of the reasons she's so popular and is underutilized. You need to do that more, and then the other 2 just need to have good hiding spots. She gathers a ton of information. The next is Bandit. He's a disruptor character from Thermite and Hibana. He's one of those that I'm not sure how I feel if he's better than Mute or not. I put him here because I prefer his gun and the 3-speed capability, which makes him a better fragger. But I would say his gadget, it's better in some ways in that it destroys the gadget, but it's not in the other, as it doesn't have quite as big range as Mute. So that's one of those things where you should probably bring one or the other, but usually not both. Anyways, Pulse is also on this list. The reason why I have Pulse on there is because he essentially does the same thing as Valkyrie, except to a different degree. More often than not, you'll play him beneath the bomb site and toss a C4 if you see him planting. Or you can take people out as they jump through doorways. He's just a really versatile operator in that sense. Good for taking out a Monty. That's really why he's so good. The next list down would be Mute, Rook, Doc, and Castle. I put these 4 here over Cav and Echo just because I felt like alone they're all pretty powerful, but again, You shouldn't bring both a rook and a dock. I don't think that's too smart. And I think castle is probably better than where I put him. But again, this is more designed for people just starting the game. Castle, a rookie mistake is people have no idea where to put him, and people just barricade every single doorway. That's absolutely a horrible idea. Because on defense, you have to know how to navigate the map. And castle a lot of times will hinder that. But there's some absolutely magnificent castle play out there. I will watch people use castle before I pick them up, so that's why I put him here. As for rook and dock, the meta is starting to favor faster operators, as a little bit less anchoring is kind of in the game ever since Fuse got his buff, and there's 2 people who can get through reinforced walls now. It's not always best to hunker down on site a lot of times. Some places you have to, but a lot of times that's not the case anymore. So that's why I put those 2 down there. Between the 2, honestly, I would say rook is better though, because Glaz is so popular right now. And then mute, I've already stated, he and Bandit could easily be swapped. I would say his gun's easier to use than Bandit's, if only because it has less recoil, because you're using the hollow sight, because you're forced to, but I prefer Bandit personally. And at the bottom we have a couple DLC characters being Frost, Echo, and Cav, then Chenka and Capcan. Frost and Capcan, I have seen them used in competitive play. I've never seen that work. In my own play against people that rush, it actually does work really well. It shocks me how well it works on rushing people. But at the same time, if people are playing the game right, there's not that much rushing. Maybe like 1 round they'll rush you, but the rest it's all pretty quickly clearing stuff out and watching out for crap like that. So that's why they're down there. As for Echo and Cav, I think Echo has kind of been replaced by Mira. You could run both, but usually in Echo's smoke and a Mira, that's really redundant. And it sounds like a good idea. It might work on some maps where you don't necessarily need a bandit or a mute. But I don't know. It seems like a lot of the same thing going on right there. And Echo's good in the sense he can stop a bomb plant. I have seen that done before, but his weapons they're pretty similar to Smoke and Mirrors, I suppose. But I don't like him as much personally. I don't think he's as good as he was before they put Mira into the game. So that's why he didn't really make it higher on my list. And then Cav, I put her down here mostly because you don't see her used in competitive play, and I kind of use that to factor this. But I'd say she's not bad. Whenever I'm playing ranked, usually I'll have everybody slow it down until we get her killed off. But the thing is, if you're playing the game right, a lot of times you'll never get interrogated because you're talking to your teammates, and they'll save you before the Cav can get that interrogation off. So her real best factor is the silent step, and that's just okay because you can only use your handgun, which I suppose it's good if you're hitting headshots. And it has a ton of body damage, but really it drops off pretty fast. That's why she's down here. I don't know. I don't think she's that good, but I have friends that can play her really well. So, and then Chenka. Chenka is just bad. He really is. You just sit in the back of a room and don't ever get any kills unless you're playing like really bad people. Chenka's bad. He's so bad. Anyways, that's my Defender tier list, beginner purchase video, Rainbow Six Siege. I don't really know. This is a little bit all over the place. I'll have to monetize that better. But thanks so much for watching. Be sure and stop by one of my live streams sometimes. I'm going to get back into the groove of that. And real quick, the reason I've been absent for a couple weeks is because I have had finals are coming up, and I had like a big event in the family I had to take care of at the house, but it's all done now. I still have finals, so I will be studying pretty hard for that. And like the last week of May, I'm not going to probably be pumping out as many videos as I want, but after that, I should get back into a better groove. And hopefully sometime tomorrow, the next day, or the day after that, I will have out my attacker guide. So check out that. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. Hey friend, in today's video, I'm going to be going